Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Police officer shot during robbery in Portmore, St. Catherine. Reggae Industry Association bemoans lack of investment in the sector from local sports. Jamaica's two-man bobsleigh team failed to improve on their position and finished 30th in the event, China. I'm Krista Campbell and here are the details. Up first this afternoon, a police constable was shot and injured during a robbery along Municipal Boulevard in Portmore, St. Catherine last night. Cody Barrett reports.
The St. Catherine Police Division is now investigating the shooting of a police constable while on duty in Portmore. It's understood that a passerby discovered a man in bushes suffering from gunshot wounds along the Municipal Boulevard.
And if we go look some water and thing, and we see the person lay down in the bush and the grass hide him in, so no vehicle couldn't see him at the time being in the bush. So I hear the person ask help, so when I go over now, the Rasta man say him dead. So I say him can't dead, and him call for help. So when I go over, I see that him breathing, and ask him what's going on to him, and say he's a police.
The police were alerted, and on their arrival, they discovered it was a member of the JCF.
The information at hand is that he was shot from last night about 9. And his service motorbike was taken and his personal firearm was also taken. He was taken to the hospital where he's now being treated. I think he's in a serious condition, but he was able to respond to us this morning.
He is Constable Michael Manning. According to the passerby, the police gave an account of what happened.
Policeman says some man drive him down and shoot him in him back. And take one in gun and take one bike. Yeah, that's all him could have tell me at the time.
He added that motorists were unwilling to assist until a truck driver stopped.
I feel upset because me did get shot in 1996, get 5 shots, and it was so painful. It was like me had dead. So me see that man and him same need help because him get the shot. Me have to just run him rescue same way. Because a life over dead and everybody have to help each one. And nobody knows where the road may turn.
This is one of the many robberies of men on motorcycles in the parish, and the police are appealing to the public to assist in stopping them.
We know that, when you look at the criminal landscape in Portmore, Portmore has a cell connected to all the criminal organizations and gangs across Jamaica. That is the complexity of police in Portmore. So we need the assistance of our citizens to assist us. To solve some of these issues.
Cody Barrett, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, is this afternoon insisting that local stakeholders have failed to invest in the sector. The comments come as February is observed as Reggae Month. Now, our reporter Sandy Williams has been speaking to some industry stakeholders and now joins us live. Sandy?
Thanks, Krista. As you mentioned, the country is celebrating Reggae Month, and for the next 2 days, I'll be focusing on some of the issues in the sector. There's no doubt that the genre of music is loved by many, but at the same time, key stakeholders in the industry say there's not much investment in the sector by locals.
Reggae music is a style of popular music that originated in Jamaica in the 1960s. It quickly became the country's dominant music, and by the 1970s, reggae became an international style. Reggae music is widely perceived as a voice of the oppressed.
There's no doubt that reggae music has a global impact and influence. But even as Jamaica's popular music beats in the 4 corners of the earth, there are still concerns about the lack of investment locally. Stakeholders in the reggae industry believe that foreigners have shown more appreciation and invested more in the music and culture by extension.
Jamaicans have never really appreciated the value that reggae brings to the rest of the world, or even the value that reggae is to Jamaica. There's a saying that a prophet has no honor in his own home. And reggae is a prime example of that. The way how people treat reggae musicians in the same manner that we treat superstars from other genres is amazing, but when we go overseas.
It has been given very minimal support by successive governments, and the leadership in the country is not squarely behind the development of our culture and see it as a serious part of our export, despite the fact that it probably is doing better than a lot of our other products that we try to export and industries that we try to earn money from in terms of foreign exchange.
The way how we invest in reggae is leaving a lot to be desired, And that has been something that has been a traditional position. It has never really received the respect it is supposed to receive.
President of the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JAREA, Ewan Simpson, says local stakeholders have failed to invest in the reggae industry as a business.
So if corporate Jamaica does not invest in reggae, and if the persons who make money from reggae do not reinvest in reggae, then who is going to do it?
Ethnomusicologist Dr. Dennis Howard laments that Jamaica is not committed to the true value of reggae.
Get us out of these situations. We find money to do a lot of stuff in other areas, and we have never been serious about investing. And this is what other countries do. In developed states, which we love to compare ourselves with, they spend a lot of money investing in culture. United States, Canada, all parts of Europe and other developing states are coming to the realization that it is important for us to invest in culture. Jamaica is not yet serious, unfortunately.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
Now in part 2, we'll seek answers to critical questions like why do locals with capital shy away from investing in the reggae industry, and how can that be addressed? Join us tomorrow for those answers.
Thank you, Sandy. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says an announcement will be made soon regarding the entertainment sector. He gave the signal yesterday after granting permission for Premier League matches to be played with limited spectators at 4 designated venues. These are the National Stadium, Stadium East and Sabina Park, all in Kingston, as well as Drax Hall in St. Anne. Jamaica's entertainment sector has been in lockdown since August last year. Following a 1-month reopening, the government pulled the plug on the sector after a spike in COVID-19 cases. But since late last year, there have been calls for the Holness administration to present a timetable for the industry's reopening. The Education Ministry has postponed the Grade 6 Primary Exit Profile Ability Test from its originally scheduled date of February 22 to March 24, 2022. It has also cancelled the performance-based tests scheduled for March 22 and 24. However, the curriculum-based tests will go ahead as scheduled for April 27 and 28. The decisions come amidst concerns raised by stakeholders about students' readiness to sit these exams. In a recent study, more than 70% of the teachers who responded to a survey stated that students were not ready for the assessment, and 59% preferred a change in the dates for the tests. It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. With the island now experiencing an increase in incidents of flooding and landslides, there's a call for greater focus to be placed on the replanting of trees from forest areas. O'Shane Masters has the details.
Trees have been cut down due to the rampant increase in the country's housing stock and mining activities. According to an article in the World Rainforest Movement dated September 11, 2001, deforestation has led to the deterioration of more than a third of Jamaica's watersheds, drying up streams and rivers, leaving cities and towns suffering from lack of water. It's also noted that the increasing deforestation in Jamaica's mountains and the resulting soil erosion have over the years worsened the impact of hurricanes.
One of the things that the Forestry Department has been working on, and I'll be asking them to give additional focus to, is indeed the areas of degradation that contribute significantly to flooding and to land slippage. That will form a part of our focus in terms of our replanting initiatives to ensure that these areas and the flooding caused by them are our priority over the next 12 months. There's no doubt through our independent history that Jamaica has pursued a development route that is not always in the long-term interest of Jamaica, and that's something we have to face. But from my perspective, as we continue to develop and try to lift our people out of poverty, we're going to have to ensure that it's being done in a sustainable manner.
Minister with responsibility for water, environment and climate change, Matthew Samuda, believes this can be done through the 3 Million Trees initiative, which was launched by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on October 4, 2019. However, there's a challenge. As up to September last year, just over 730,000 seedlings were planted.
That's one that we must achieve, not just because of our political target set, but because it is in the interest of every single Jamaican. So we're going to have to achieve that over the next 12 months, and we're going to have to work towards determining what the next set of targets are. We may need a further 3 million trees after that, and we need to look at exactly what types and where they need to be. So the planning for the next initiative also has to be taking place.
As for the replenishing of mangroves, he says an update will be provided soon. The Jamaica Environment Trust had raised concern last year about the removal of coastal mangroves for hotel developments. Chairman of JET, Diana Macaulay, said the destruction of mangroves is an old approach to coastal development and is inappropriate given the climate crisis which currently faces the island. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And we now go to the Business Minute, and here's Cody and Barrett.
Goddard Enterprises Limited launched its 100th anniversary entrepreneurship competition geared towards uplifting small businesses across the Caribbean through financial assistance and mentorship. 10 entrepreneurs were selected. 2 Jamaicans were among the awardees, marking the official start of the first stage of the competition.
And we said, you know what, we want to celebrate our success by having others be just as successful. So let's create these entrepreneurship awards, and that's what we did. I trust that the ones that we selected here in Barbados, in St. Vincent, in Trinidad, and those 2 in Jamaica, are companies that have the perseverance to succeed and obviously survive the pandemic. And that coming out, that you guys will be champions.
The JMMB Group, through its banking arm, will start offering ePay prepaid cards to clients as part of its efforts to grow its client base. It's the latest digital wallet-type service. The service also includes transportation cards and prepaid cards. The group will expand the card's usage to other services going forward. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
Time now for the top regional and international stories with Sandy Williams.
In regional news, an earthquake with a magnitude of 5.4 rocked several Caribbean islands during the early hours on Tuesday. The Trinidad-based Seismic Research Center, SRC, of the University of the West Indies said there were no immediate reports of injuries or damage linked to the quake, which occurred at minutes after 4 a.m. It said the quake was located at latitude 16.74 north, longitude 61.35 west, and at a depth of 19 kilometers. The SRC said the tremor was felt 58 kilometers northeast of Pointe-à-Pitre, the capital of the French island of Guadeloupe, 69 kilometers southeast of St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda, and 60 kilometers north of the Dominican capital, Rossua. On the international scene, Russia says it is pulling back some of its troops from near Ukraine after a buildup raised fears of an invasion. The defense ministry said large-scale drills continued, but that some units were returning to their bases. There has been no independent confirmation of the withdrawal, and international powers have reacted cautiously to the announcement. More than 100,000 Russian troops have massed at Ukraine's border, but Russia has always denied it is planning an attack. NATO said the Russian announcement gave cause for cautious optimism, but that they had not seen evidence of de-escalation on the ground. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
We head to a quick break now. When we return, Renardo Bond will have your midday sports report.
Welcome back. It's now time for your midday sports. Now, Jamaica's 2-man bobsleigh team of Shanwayne Stevens and Nimrod Turgut failed to improve on their position and finished 30th and last in their event following the completion of Heat 3 on Tuesday. The pair finished with a combined time of 3 minutes 04.12 seconds after registering a time of 1 minute 01.54 in Heat 3. Heats 1 and 2 were contested on Monday. Stevens and Turgut will team up with Ashley Watson and Rolando Reed for the 4-man event. Their official training heats will begin tomorrow before the actual competition gets going on Saturday. And Russian figure skater Kamila Valieva has argued her positive drug test was due to contamination with her granddad's medicine. An Olympic official says the 15-year-old failed that test but is being allowed to compete in Beijing 2022 after a court ruled on Monday that a provisional suspension should not be reimposed. Valieva discovered a week ago that she had failed a drug test but then successfully appealed against the Russian anti-doping agency the decision to impose a provisional suspension. That decision was upheld by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, CAS, on Monday after appeals by the IOC and others. It cleared the way for Valieva, who competed this morning with a 8.2 or 82.16 score, to go top despite a stumble in her routine. And in cricket at sports time, the Jamaica Scorpions electing to bat were 122 for 2 after lunch on day 1 of their CWI Regional 4-Day Championship game against the Barbados Pride at the Kensington Oval. The Scorpions, who lost their first game at the weekend to the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, got off to a brisk start as opener Leroy Lugg and captain John Campbell added 71 runs for the first wicket. Lugg was very aggressive in his approach, scoring 39 runs from 41 balls, including 4 fours and 3 sixes. Only 6 runs were added before the Scorpions lost to vice-captain Jermaine Blackwood for 2 to leave the Jamaican franchise 77 for 2 at one stage. The Scorpions have made one change to their team from the first game as Nkrumah Bonner replaced Derval Green, and captain John Campbell is there on 41. In football, Paris Saint-Germain face a high-stakes tie against Real Madrid as last season's beaten finalists meet in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 for the second time later today. Madrid eliminated Paris at this stage of the 2017-18 UEFA Champions League en route to winning the competition for the 3rd year running, although the French club had come out on top in the 2 previous knockout ties between the clubs. Meanwhile, with 11 wins in their last 12 games in all competitions, Manchester City were the favourite stag as they take on Sporting in the other game today. Both games are set to start at 3 p.m. And Novak Djokovic has said he would rather miss out on future tennis trophies than be forced to get vaccinated. Speaking exclusively to the BBC, he said he should not be associated with the anti-vax movement, but supported an individual's right to choose. Djokovic was asked if he would sacrifice taking part in competitions such as Wimbledon and the French Open over his stance on the vaccine. The 20-time Grand Slam winner was deported from Australia last month after the government cancelled his visa in a row over his vaccine status. Djokovic, who is the world's #1 men's tennis player, said he had obtained a medical exemption to enter the country to play in the Australian Open as he had recently recovered from COVID-19. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. Krista, it's back to you.
Thank you, Renardo. And that's the Midday News. I'm Krista Campbell. Join us again at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.